She had supposedly gone to visit a friend, saying she just needed to clear her head for a while. Her return was set for a specific date, but that day came and went, and Jasmine never came home. Her family began to suspect something was terribly wrong. This just wasn't like her. Then came a final post on her Facebook page, one that exposed a hidden truth. It was a provocative photo. Her mother was stunned, absolutely certain her daughter had not posted it herself. From that moment on, the story began to unravel into one of the most tragic and disturbing cases in recent U.S. history. And that is the story I'm about to tell you. It was 2022 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Jasmine hadn't been in touch with her family for several days. Not long before, her grandmother had passed away, and earlier that year, she'd already endured the heartbreaking loss of a brother. Everyone assumed she was dealing with her grief in her own way. Still, the silence started to worry them. They began to fear something might have happened. On Tuesday, Jasmine told them she was heading over to a friend's house. But the very next day, Wednesday, she sent a message saying she wouldn't be coming home that week. Her mother, Catherine, thought it was odd. After all, Thursday was Thanksgiving, and in their family that day was always spent together. They kept sending messages, hoping to check in on her, and they did get several texts back from Jasmine. But no one could reach her by phone. Many of her friends also. Jasmine's family had been saying she wanted some time alone. "Something's wrong," said Jacqueline White, Jasmine's cousin. "She's not answering her phone, and it's not like her to disappear for this long." Then, out of the blue, a Facebook post appeared on Jasmine's profile. "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my love." But the photo didn't sit right. According to her mother, Jasmine would never post a picture wearing clothes like that. And something else was off. Her family kept trying to call her, their concern growing with every unanswered ring. That's when Jasmine's father noticed something deeply unsettling. The picture wasn't even taken that day. In the photo, her distinctive tattoos were missing. Tattoos she had gotten months earlier, which meant the image had to be old. The family's concern quickly turned into full-blown panic. Whoever had posted that photo was pretending to be Jasmine, and no one knew where she really was, what had happened to Jasmine Pace, and who exactly was the mysterious love she mentioned, someone no one in her family had ever met. Today's story takes us to Chattanooga, Tennessee, a city known for its breathtaking scenery of rivers, mountains, and hiking trails. It's a place steeped in history, especially from the Civil War era, yet also recognized for its technological innovation and urban revival. With attractions like the Tennessee Aquarium and Lookout Mountain, it's a lively destination for visitors, and it's where Jasmine Pace had lived her entire life. In 2022, Jasmine was 22 years old. Friends and family called her Jazzy. She adored her two nieces and was the proud godmother of a little boy named Onion. Jasmine dreamed of becoming a mother herself one day. She was an animal lover through and through, caring tenderly for her 4 cats. Known for her sweetness, intelligence, and fierce loyalty, Jasmine was protective of the people she loved, and they knew she'd do the same for them without hesitation. Jasmine's older sister, Gabby, said that Jasmine had never cut off a friend or failed to show love to the people around her. She touched so many lives, it was impossible not to love her. On the night of November 22nd, just before 11:30 p.m., Jasmine left her mother's house driving her white Chevrolet Equinox. The next day, her mother, Katrina Pace, received a text from Jasmine's phone saying she'd be staying at her friend Emma's house for the rest of the week. Given that Jasmine had recently lost her grandmother to cancer, her initial absence didn't raise alarms. Sometimes she preferred solitude to cope with grief. But then came the Facebook post. What caught Katrina's attention was the revealing outfit Jasmine was wearing in the picture, completely out of character for her. For Jasmine's father, Travis Pace, another detail was far more alarming. The tattoos on Jasmine's right arm, done at different times over several months, were missing. That post could not have been taken recently. When Katrina called Emma to check, her suspicions were confirmed. Jasmine wasn't there. Other friends and family members had also received texts from Jasmine's phone, claiming she just wanted to be alone, but no one had actually spoken to her. The search began immediately. Jasmine's SUV was equipped with a tracking system called My Chevy, which allowed her mother to locate the vehicle. It was parked at an apartment complex on Mountain Creek Road in Chattanooga. Police found the SUV around 8:30 p.m. on November 26th, 4 days after Jasmine had last been seen leaving her mother's home. No one in the family knew anyone who lived at the Signal View condos where the vehicle was discovered. When they opened the car, something stood out instantly. The driver's seat was pushed all the way back, far beyond the reach of Jasmine, who stood just 5 feet 2 inches. It looked like someone much taller had been behind the wheel last. The family immediately called 911 to report her missing. Chattanooga police responded and took a report. "We just want her home and safe," said Bailey Putman, Jasmine's childhood friend, who had been doing everything she could to help. Katrina also contacted the family's cell phone provider. Since Jasmine was on their family plan, her mother could access her call history. No calls had been made in the past few days, except one. One number stood out. On the night of November 22nd, the night she was last seen, Jasmine had spent over an hour on the phone with that contact. When Katrina dialed the number, a man named Jason Chen answered. He was a computer science student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Jasmine had met him on the dating app Bumble, and the two had been seeing each other casually for a few months. Their relationship hadn't been serious enough for her to introduce him to her parents. Neither Katrina nor Travis had ever met him. When informed about Jasmine's disappearance, Jason claimed he hadn't seen her in days, and that their last conversation lasted only a few minutes. But Katrina knew that was a lie. He said he only talked to her for a few minutes, but the phone records show 71 minutes. He forgot about an entire hour of talking? That's not a mistake, that's a lie. Jason's lack of concern was another red flag. Katrina begged police to dig deeper, but little was done. Jasmine was legally an adult, and at that point, there was no clear evidence of foul play. So, once again, the family was on their own. After finding her car at the apartment complex, Katrina and Travis went door to door, asking residents if they had seen Jasmine. No one had, but a security guard agreed to share the building's surveillance footage. Based on the timestamps from the MyChevy app, they pinpointed the moment the white SUV entered the parking lot. On November 23rd, just after 8:30 p.m., Jasmine's car was seen pulling in and heading toward the very spot where it was later found. The driver, however, could not be identified. Then Katrina noticed one last message on Jasmine's phone, one she had somehow overlooked. It was sent in the early morning hours of November 23rd. No words, no explanation, just a GPS location. It came through at 2:01 a.m. Jasmine had never done anything like that before, especially not in the middle of the night. The following day, after police once again brushed off the family's concerns, Katrina and Travis drove to the address from that GPS pin, an apartment building at 110 Tremont Street. Once again, they went door to door, knocking on every unit, except for apartment 210. No one there ever answered. Neighbors told them they had heard a loud argument coming from that apartment around 2:15 a.m. on November 23rd, just minutes after Jasmine sent that strange location. Somehow, Katrina and Travis managed to get inside. Right by the entrance, a notebook revealed the tenant's name, Jason Chen. The apartment was small, the kitchen just steps from the couch, with a short hallway leading to the single bedroom. There was a bathroom and a small laundry closet. From the doorway, nearly the entire place was visible. On the kitchen counter sat a small overnight bag, Jasmine's. Cleaning supplies were scattered in a desk drawer. Travis found his daughter's driver's license and credit cards and left them out in plain view for police. The Chattanooga police were called again. Officers spoke briefly with Katrina and neighbors, and left without taking further action. Frustrated, Katrina returned to the apartment multiple times in the hours that followed. She collected notebooks, several cell phones, a camera, and an iPad, anything that might hold clues about where her daughter was. She and Travis even searched the building's dumpsters. It was nearly midnight when police finally came back, this time with a search warrant. The investigation officially began. Inside, investigators found what looked like bloodstains on the hardwood floor in the living room, soaked into the bathroom grout, and on the carpet in the bedroom. There were splatters on the bathroom doors and walls. The abundance of cleaning products raised eyebrows, and trash bags had been emptied. In the dumpsters, police recovered 2 white sneakers and a pair of blue pants. Back in the apartment, broken glass fragments were scattered on the living room floor, hinting at a violent struggle. In the bedroom, furniture had been moved, the carpet still showing the outlines of where it once sat. Under the bed, a large stain was found, and on the bed itself, a kitchen knife. Suspicious stains, likely blood, were found in almost every room. Forensics used a chemical called Blue Star, which makes even cleaned blood glow under special lighting. The hallway lit up from end to end. The case of missing Jasmine Pace was now being treated as a probable homicide. Security cameras from the building and surrounding areas helped investigators piece together Jason Chen's movements. They confirmed that Jasmine had arrived at the Tremont Street apartment before midnight on November 22nd. Her SUV was caught on camera, turning into the parking lot. The vehicle was later seen leaving around 8:30 p.m. on November 23rd. Driven by a figure wearing a light-colored hoodie, that car was headed toward the Signal View condos, where Jasmine's SUV would eventually be found. A dark Prius, likely a rideshare, then picked up the hoodie-wearing driver and dropped him off back at Jason's building. A Ring camera on a neighbor's door caught Jason himself leaving the building multiple times on November 23rd, including at 8:27 p.m., just 3 minutes before the SUV was driven to the Signal View condos. Some of Jason's outings over the Thanksgiving holiday stood out to detectives. At 1 a.m., he was caught on Walmart security cameras buying cleaning supplies, bandages, and hydrogen peroxide. In the footage, he wore a pair of white sneakers, the same ones later found in the dumpster outside his building. Later that night, he stopped at a pharmacy to purchase paper towels. Investigators believed that between the early morning Walmart trip and his eventual departure from the blood-stained apartment, Jason had removed Jasmine from the scene and discarded clothing in an attempt to cover his tracks. As detectives followed his trail across Chattanooga, one detail made him easy to spot on even the grainiest security footage: that distinctive white hoodie. 6 p.m. on November 23rd, cameras showed the hoodie again. This time, Jason struggling to drag a large suitcase out the front door of his building toward the parking lot. Moments later, his black Toyota Camry was seen leaving. On November 29th, 1 week after Jasmine was last seen, police found Jason Chen at his parents' home in Nolanville. Officers noticed cuts on his hands and feet, consistent with injuries from a violent struggle. Armed with a search warrant, police combed through the house. In Jason's bedroom, they found a black backpack and several handwritten notes, what appeared to be rehearsed statements for police. One note claimed he last saw Jasmine on November 19th and that they only spoke briefly on the 22nd. He described her as unstable, suggested she had a history of running away, mentioned a restraining order against an ex-boyfriend, and even accused her mother of being an alcoholic. At one point, he claimed Jasmine had once been homeless. The narrative was clear. Jason was trying to paint Jasmine as a habitual runaway. Inside an eyeglass case from his backpack, detectives found a SIM card belonging to Jasmine's phone. Jason's phone was also seized. On it, investigators found a photo of Jasmine in his bathroom, taken the night she disappeared. There were also screenshots of text messages between them, but the original texts had been deleted. The morning after Jasmine vanished, Jason sent a photo with the caption, "Slept like a baby." Later, he sent another, "Still good for dinner tonight?" Metadata revealed both photos had been taken 2 years earlier, and from Jasmine's own phone. Data from Jason's phone revealed that it had traveled with him to Walmart that morning, even though security footage showed him alone, driving and shopping. After loading the large suitcase into his car, cell records traced Jason's route to Suck Creek Road, a winding stretch that runs alongside a river. On Thursday, December 1st, investigators searching along the riverbank spotted something. It was Jason Chen's suitcase. Inside was the body of Jasmine Pace. She had been wrapped in 3 garbage bags and restrained with handcuffs. Her right arm was bound to her right ankle, and her left ankle was cuffed to her right elbow. These were not police-issued cuffs. They were flimsy, and one of them had a broken chain. The autopsy was brutal to read. Jasmine had been stabbed more than 60 times, the majority of wounds concentrated on the upper left side of her body. The handle of the knife had been snapped off inside her chest. By December 2022, a judge set Jason Chen's bail at $5 million. The sheer violence of the crime sparked public outrage. Many were stunned he was granted bail at all. By then, investigators had assembled a complete timeline showing that Jason had used Jasmine's phone and SIM card to access her bank accounts, post fake social media updates, and send misleading messages even after her death. To one woman he met on Tinder, he wrote, "I guess we're dating now." This was likely while Jasmine's body still lay in his apartment. On the night of the murder, Jason even made time to arrange an online Call of Duty match. But first, he needed to finish cleaning up. It was hard to imagine what defense strategy his legal team would attempt when the case finally went to trial in January 2025. In a surprising twist, Jason's attorney, Josh Wise, didn't try to argue his client's innocence. In his opening statement to the jury, Wise admitted, Jason Chen took Jasmine Pace's life, but he did not do so with premeditation. This is a case of voluntary manslaughter. Although the state was not seeking the death penalty, a conviction for premeditated murder would mean life in prison without the possibility of parole. The defense's only hope was to convince the jury this was a crime of passion, not a planned killing. The story they presented was this. The couple had been drinking wine in Jason's apartment. At some point, Jasmine went to the kitchen for another bottle and heard Tinder notifications coming from Jason's phone. Enraged, she allegedly confronted him, then attacked him with a broken wine glass. The defense claimed Jason, in a sudden emotional reaction, grabbed a kitchen knife he had earlier used to open the wine, a knife that, they said, had been left on his bedside table, and stabbed Jasmine. As for the handcuffs, Wise argued they were used in a panic to help Jason fit her body into the garbage bags and the suitcase. The timeline of the killing and cover-up was meticulously rebuilt through surveillance footage, cell phone data from both Jason and Jasmine, and testimony from neighbors. One neighbor, Courtney Brewer, recalled, "I woke up to a scream around 2 in the morning between November 22nd and 23rd. I grabbed my phone to check the time because I thought about calling the police. It was right at 2 a.m. I heard a woman screaming something I couldn't make out, then footsteps running toward the front door. Sounded like more than one person, but the physical evidence at the scene posed problems for prosecutors. Jason had used multiple cleaning products throughout the apartment and had discarded key items, including the broken knife. Complicating matters further, Jasmine's mother, Katrina, had entered the apartment several times before police secured it, collecting personal items and searching for clues. The defense seized on this, suggesting contamination of the crime scene. Their expert testified that the apartment looked different between the initial police walkthrough and the later forensic search. Furniture had been moved, and some items had disappeared entirely. The defense even went so far as to suggest that evidence might have been planted. On the stand, Travis Pace, Jasmine's father, said he didn't recall seeing a knife on the bed when he and his ex-wife first entered the apartment. The defense attorney pressed him, "Does your ex-wife have a reputation for being honest?" Travis didn't answer, hinting at uncertainty about Katrina's actions when she re-entered the crime scene. Dr. Stephen Cogswell, the Hamilton County medical examiner, testified that based on the location of Jasmine's wounds, she was in a fetal position when she was attacked. The restraints, he explained, suggested they were placed on her while she was still alive. If someone is stabbed 60 times, you would expect them to try to run away. But what if they can't? Cogswell told the jury. If the right hand is cuffed to the right ankle and the left ankle is bound to the right elbow, it makes it hard to run, to move, to do anything. He also explained that victims typically try to defend themselves with both hands, especially if the blows come from the right side. Jasmine, however, had injuries only on her left hand, none significant on the right, consistent with someone lying on their side, restrained, unable to use one arm. The autopsy also revealed no alcohol in Jasmine's system, directly contradicting Jason's claim that they had spent the night drinking wine. And another key point of Jason's story, that the fight began over Tinder notifications, fell apart when a state expert testified that his phone record showed no such notifications that night. Jason Chen chose not to testify in his own defense. Over several days, the prosecution methodically dismantled the defense's narrative. By closing arguments, Jason's lawyers had largely abandoned their original version of events, instead focusing on one technical angle, the absence of bruising on Jasmine's wrists. They argued this meant there was no proof she was alive when the restraints were placed. A defense expert even claimed that a suspected bloodstain on the bedsheets might show she wasn't restrained, but under cross-examination, he admitted the stain was never tested to confirm it was blood at all. Other evidence pointed toward premeditation. The sheer number of stab wounds suggested Jason had ample opportunity to stop. Prosecutor Cody Womp emphasized the timeline, especially neighbor Courtney Brewer's testimony. Jasmine knew she was in danger, Womp told the jury. At 2:01 a.m., Jasmine managed to send her location to her mother, proof she had time to act and tried to escape. Minutes later, Courtney heard a door slam. Jasmine tried to get out. This wasn't quick. The jury began deliberations at 4:15 p.m. After less than an hour, they returned. The verdict: guilty, with a finding of premeditation. During sentencing, the jury had to decide whether Jason would ever have a chance at parole. Through a translator, Jason's mother made a tearful plea. "He's a good son. He's not a bad person. I pray the judge and jury give him a chance to start his life over." Defense attorney Josh Wise appealed to the jury's sense of compassion. Justice is not only measured by how we treat the virtuous, but also how we treat the condemned. We don't ask you to forgive him or excuse his actions, only to give him the possibility of redemption, so that at 73, he can try to rebuild his humanity. But the jury was firm. In less than an hour, the foreperson read the sentence. We find this case to be especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, involving torture and physical suffering beyond what was necessary to cause death. We sentence the defendant to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Meanwhile, the Pace family filed a civil lawsuit against Jason's parents, accusing them of helping their son after the murder, providing him with money and information while he was the prime suspect and Jasmine was missing. The impact on the family was devastating. Relations between Travis and Katrina, already strained, fractured further. Some family members even left the courtroom when Travis was called to testify for the defense. Yet despite all the pain and division, the verdict brought a measure of justice. Jasmine Pace would not be remembered solely as the victim of a brutal crime, but as a vibrant young woman whose life was cut short by an act the prosecution described as heinous, atrocious, and cruel. And with that, the case of Jasmine Pace came to a close, until the next mystery is solved.